MINT is an acronym referring to the economies of Mexico, Indonesia, Nigeria, and Turkey. The term was originally coined by Fidelity Investments, a Boston-based asset management firm, and was popularized by Jim O'Neill of Goldman Sachs, who had created the term BRIC. The term is primarily used in the economic and financial spheres as well as in academia. Its usage has grown especially in the investment sector, where it is used to refer to the bonds issued by these governments. These 4 countries are also part of the Next 11. Thesis: in a column for Bloomberg View a few years after Fidelity coined the term, O'Neill discussed the MINT economies. I spent last week in Indonesia, working on a series for BBC Radio about 4 of the world Euro unregistered trademark's most populous non-BRIC emerging economies. The BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, India and China, are already closely watched. The Group E Euro unregistered trademark I'm studying for this project, LITA Euro unregistered trademark S call them the MINT economies, deserve no less attention. Mexico, Indonesia, Nigeria and Turkey all have very favorable demographics for at least the next 20 years, and their economic prospects are interesting. Policymakers and thinkers in the MINT countries have often asked me why I left them out of that first classification. Indonesians made the point with particular force. Over the years Euro unregistered trademark they become accustomed to being told that the BRIC countries should have been the BRICs all along, or maybe even the BICs. Wasna Euro unregistered trademark T Indonesia Euro unregistered trademark S economic potential more compelling than Russia Euro unregistered trademark S? Despite the size of its relatively young population, I thought it unlikely that Indonesia would do enough on the economic policy front to quickly realize the potential. Now, meeting a diverse group of Indonesians from the leading candidates for the 2014 presidential elections to shoppers in Jakarta unregistered trademark S busy malls I found a healthy preoccupation with the counter unregistered trademark S economic prospects. Could Indonesia do her to unregistered trademark S needed to lift the counter unregistered trademark S growth rate to 7% or more, they were asking, or would it have to settle for just 5%? Country data, Mexico. Due to Mexico's rapidly advancing infrastructure, increasing middle class and rapidly declining poverty rates it is expected to have a higher GDP per capita than all but 3 European economies of 2014, by 2050. This newfound local wealth also contributes to the nation's economy by creating a large domestic consumer market which in turn creates more jobs. Indonesia. With its large population, Indonesia will be ranked 7th in GDP by 2050 according to Jim O'Neill about BRIC and other prominent countries. Indonesia has a mixed economy in which both the private sector and government play significant roles. The country is the largest economy in Southeast Asia and a member of the G20 major economies. Indonesia's estimated nominal GDP as of 2012 was $928.274 billion with estimated nominal per capita GDP was $3,797 and per capita GDP PPP was $4,943. June 2011, at World Economic Forum on East Asia, Indonesian president said Indonesia will be in the top 10 countries with the strongest economy within the next decade. Indonesia is the world's 4th most populous country after China, India, and the United States and the world's 3rd most populous democratic country after India and the United States. In 2009, BRIC and Indonesia represented about 42 and 3% of the world's population respectively and about 15% of global GDP altogether. All of them are G20 countries. By 2015, Internet users in BRIC and Indonesia will double to 1.2 billion. At 2009, Indonesia was the only member of the G20 to lower its public debt to GDP ratio a positive economic management indicator. Nigeria. Nigeria is a middle-income mixed economy and emerging market with expanding financial, service, communications, and entertainment sectors. It is ranked 26th in the world in terms of gross domestic product at purchasing power parity as of 2014, and largest within Africa, on track to become one of the 20 largest economies in the world by 2020. Its re-emergent, though currently underperforming, manufacturing sector is the third largest on the continent, and produces a large proportion of goods and services for the West African region. Turkey. Turkey's economy grew at 10.3% last year, faster than China, and was the third fastest growing economy in the world. Economic growth came mainly from construction, rather than exports like China and Russia. Construction alone makes up 6% of the Turkish economy, but if one counts the various industries related to construction and the related industries made up some 30% of the economy. Turkey also has a very large domestic consumption base, and some 3 major auto companies. In 2011 Turkey had the world's 15th largest GDP and 18th largest nominal GDP. By 2050 this nominal GDP is set to grow to $4.45 trillion to become the 14th largest nominal GDP in the world. The country is a founding member of the OECD and the G20 major economies. Since December 31, 1995, it has been part of the EU Customs Union. Mean wages were $8.71 per man-hour in 2009. Turkey grew at an average rate of 7.5% between 2002 and 2006, faster than any other OECD country. According to a survey by Forbes magazine, Istanbul, Turkey's financial capital, had a total of 28 billionaires as of March 2010, ranking 4th in the world behind New York City, Moscow, and London. In 2012, Istanbul was ranked 5th in the world with 30 billionaires, behind Moscow, New York City, London, and Hong Kong. Turkey's major cities and its Aegean coastline attract millions of visitors every year. The CIA classifies Turkey as a developed country. It is often classified as a newly industrialized country by economists and political scientists. Current leaders. See also, the Pacific Pumas, BRICS, Civets, Vista, G7, E7, Emerging Power, Emerging and Growth Leading Economies, 4 Asian Tigers, G20 Major Economies, Next 11, Tiger Cub Economies, External links, Center for Rising Powers, University of Cambridge, References.